We're live from the Giant Bomb podcast studio in San Francisco, California. It's the Apple Byte Extra Crunchy with your host, Mr. Brian Tong.
What's up, everybody? Apple Byte, episode 62. 63, my bad. Did I totally mess that up? We're going to restart the whole show? No, just kidding.
Start it over.
No. Extra Crunchy, Extra Munchy. What's up, everybody? This is the complimentary piece to our weekly Apple Byte video podcast. Today, we're talking all things MacBooks. We got some iPad. We have some iPhone. But we do want to start with letting you all know how to be a part of the show. We continue to get your calls all the time. 1-800-616-2638 to be a part of this thing. Do you want to be a part of something?
Please.
Do you want to be part of something?
I want to be part of something.
I do too. Let's do it. Okay, so leave your name, where you're from. We've got some great calls and comments, and that's what this is all about. You make the show just as much as we're just here to serve you all. So let's jump into it right away. Still continuous flows of MacBooks. I think that's really just the hottest product that everyone is still talking about. So we're going to lead with MacBook news. This comes out from our friends at Slice Intelligence based on e-receipt data of nearly 3,000 customers and purchases. The new MacBook Pro has surpassed in its first 5 days of sales. It has surpassed other competitors. Really has dwarfed other competitors. If you look at this pretty graph, if you can't see it, Microsoft Surface Book, the Asus Chromebook Flip, the Dell Inspiron 2-in-1, the Lenovo Yoga 900. Here's also just to give you a take of how crazy this new MacBook Pro has performed. In the first 5 days, it outsold the current 12-inch MacBook by 7 times.
Wow. 7 times. That's amazing.
We know there's a lot of wow, you sound like you're from a keynote, Beecham.
We're really happy about this. How do they say it?
This is the best MacBook we've ever made.
Yes.
That's what they say.
Best MacBook we have ever made, bar none, is what they say, bar none.
So we know there's a ton of pent-up demand for this. That's a given, but it is a metric to show that, you know what, they're selling a lot. Phil Schiller even said it's the most pre-orders they had ever received as well. And just in case you're trying to figure out when are these coming out, some leaks or rough estimates from third-party Apple resellers, not Apple themselves, have shown that the new MacBook Pros are set for a November 17th release. We also have people that have received information from the Big A on their online kind of update status that the new MacBook Pros with the Touch Bar, again, the 13-inch without a Touch Bar has been out, but that the 15-inch book and 13-inch with Touch Bars will soon be making it in the hands of customers. Some people are showing their details as preparing for shipment.
Oh, nice.
Delivers sometime between the 17th and the 25th. That's directly from Apple.
That's like 4 days.
Y'all ready for this?
4 days.
I know. So, MacBook Pro people, be happy. And just in another story related to the Mac Pro, I just enjoyed this because I was kind of like, what's actually going on with this? Apple has reduced the price of the displays that were released initially to complement them. I ripped on them because, look, we know out in the market you can get like a 4K display, non-Apple LG-ish, for really a quality one, roughly around $354 $400 for a 4K, and then there's also 5K displays. Apple has reduced, it's called the LG Ultrafine display. Their 5K version was originally priced at $1,299.
Whoa, they reduced it by like $400.
Yeah, basically, you almost did the math correctly.
Wow.
But $325. I know you're not looking at this. It's not because I'm Asian. It's actually because I'm looking at the numbers here. I did the math really quickly.
Okay, thanks.
I do have an abacus handy over here on the side if you'd like me to do that.
Cool.
Cool. $325 reduction for that 5K display, now down to $974.
That's still fast too. I mean, like they just announced it a couple weeks ago.
So yeah.
That's very unlike Apple to do something like that.
Well, get this. They just recently reduced the price of the USB cable dongle adapters by like $6 across the board.
Well, that's because of Dongle Gate.
Yeah, exactly. And then like a week later, they reduced the price of these displays. The 4K display was dropped by $175 to now a $524 price point. But it's like everyone's like, hey, maybe you should lower the price of that new MacBook Pro while you're at it.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's kind of pricey.
That's great. They're like doing real-time market research with their pricing as they release products. This is amazing.
It's a whole new Apple, ladies and gentlemen. It's a whole new Apple.
It's cool they can adjust like that.
It is pretty cool. Let's take a little break for our little sponsor. We call this, for those of you that don't know about this, we call this the mid-roll.
Mid-roll time.
Let's do it. Support from this podcast comes from Salesforce. Salesforce helps marketers get smarter about their customers and plan better campaigns that blur the lines between marketing, sales, commerce, and service, all in the name of customer success. Salesforce powers marketing for the world's most innovative brands, from tailored emails to engaging mobile apps, social media, and targeted ads. Salesforce helps marketers blaze a trail for the brand journeys their customers want. That's great marketing. Made by you with Salesforce. Connect to your customers in a whole new way. See a demo at salesforce.com/AppleByte.
Oh, yeah.
AppleByte. Hey, before we continue on with the show, you want to tell people why that might have been waiting for the show, at least our live viewers and listeners that are on Periscope and on YouTube, why it took us so long to start the show?
Yeah, we were a little late today because Nintendo is launching the classic NES edition today. They released it just right now at 2 o'clock.
Supposedly. On Amazon.
Yes, on Amazon. So we were frantically trying to order these, but Amazon is not running anymore. I think the Nintendo crashed Amazon because it just says, oops, sorry.
So we're going through this whole process, and I know this is a process that people deal with, whether it's buying Apple products or buying non-Apple products. I saw Stephen Beacham express the exact emotions that I feel when I'm trying to get a pair of Jordans on like a Saturday morning at 7 a.m. He was like,
He's freaking out.
The link crashed. And then it's like, oh, I got to add them to my cart. It doesn't show in my cart. I know exactly what that feels
then
like.
I tried with my phone, check out with one click. That didn't work.
It doesn't work. I know exactly what that feels like. So you were pretty much screwed. Let's talk some new product rumors. According to Barclays, Apple, and this is piggybacking on a lot of the rumors that we've had, but a few more details. Apple will launch a trio of new iPad Pro models in March, including a refreshed 9.7-inch and 12.9-inch versions of the iPads. But we've always talked about this third model that could be a 10.9-inch or somewhere in between. They claim that the 10.9-inch model will be an all-new bezel-free design, so you won't have any of that black border on the edges. This according to Barclays. We've heard plenty of other rumors how the 10.9-inch model will basically, because of how the bezel-less nature of it, they do report that this borderless design will allow it to be around the same physical size as the current 9.7, and maybe that might mean we don't have a home button on this new 10.9-inch iPad.
That's what it seems like. Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Also, kind of the standard stuff that has been coming across the line, the True Tone display is expected to arrive on the next generation of these models. But March, April-ish has always kind of been the iPad time. But I will say that because we didn't get an entire refresh of Macs, that I'm hoping that something like that will happen as well.
Yeah.
How
do you feel about bezel-less stuff? Are you into it or?
Well, here's the thing. You know what's funny about that? We don't have too many devices that have no bezel at all.
Yeah.
And so the trick is always, will they somehow, when you touch those extra sides, maybe when you have an accidental finger swipe or, your palms are resting against it, will they be able to almost create an invisible border for us so that even if I have my fingers on the edge, it doesn't move the screen?
Yeah.
That's what they're going to have to, some sort of distinguishing line between that. But I think it'll look gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, my first thing that comes to mind is fingerprints. There's going to be more fingerprints on your screen, but that's something that we deal with all the time. And also breaking it might be a little easier, maybe?
For sure.
So,
I mean, at least how about this, breaking the actual, it depends on how far they wrap. For example, if it still has like a metal edge, but a screen, it won't break as much, right? But if you have it where it wraps pretty much over the edges, you're more likely going to break it more often.
Breaking it on the edge, that's how I broke my iPad 3 one time. Just, it fell on the edge.
Right on that
barely,
edge.
And it's like, and that's enough to cost you $200.
Or more.
Or more.
Or I would say more than that.
Yeah,
more than
probably.
$200.
I remember it was like $190 or something.
Yeah, it's never fun. It's actually one of the worst feelings and first world problems you can ever have when you drop your phone, and like you kind of hear that crack noise, like it just kind of
and then you like pick it up all worried,
dude. But how many people still use them when they're cracked? It's just, you're not gonna like buy a whole new thing.
I know. I see a lot of people
Right?
with cracked phones
Like,
all the time.
They could completely cut their face up with it if they wanted to, but they somehow manage. They somehow manage. Also, from this Barclays report, they claim, again, kind of piggybacking on some of the things we've heard, but add a few new pieces of information. They believe the iPhone 8 design will be, again, bezel-less, but coming in two different sizes, a 5-inch and 5.8-inch curved screens, according to this article, because of the removal of the bezel, that will allow the actual physical screen size to be larger.
I see.
So that 4.7-incher, nah.
That bad boy? Is that one? What is that one?
This is my iPhone 6.
What size is that, though? I forget.
I believe it's 4.7, and
4.7.
the 7S is like a 5.5, if I recall correctly. And then the iPhone SE is a 4-inch screen, which is actually kind of like the single one-hand old school. So we'll find out about this. Also, people have been asking, what's going on with the iPods or the AirPods? I wanted to address this specifically to our friend Bob from, Long Island?
Long Island,
He called in, but I was like, hey, we're going to answer this. According to reports, we have not heard a single peep from Apple, but a couple reports are saying that Apple will begin production of the AirPods in December. What that means, we may not see them in time for the holidays. If they do it in the beginning of December, we might see them but that's a big might because they still have to manufacture them, make sure the supply is right, and then ship them overseas here.
Yes. Yeah,
I don't think I don't think they start production and they're gonna get it in like a week and a half or two. It's gonna be more like 3 weeks to 4 weeks. So we'll see how that shakes out. But that's all the stories. That's all the indication. And again, I think it's extremely disappointing.
He also was wondering what was the problem? Can we speculate on that? Do we know?
Well, remember I kind of had this long diatribe about what was to me that they didn't have enough controls, but I think that's part of it. We have never heard a single bad thing about functionality, at least from the reviewers who got the early prototypes that were able to use them. So, and even if they had specific problems, A, Apple's not going to tell us, and B, Apple's not going to tell us.
True.
If you really think about that.
We can only speculate.
Are you going to try them out? Are you going to buy a pair?
I would love them, but I just not going to. I can't afford $160 or whatever. So
for earbuds that you don't even really like in the first place.
That I'm afraid
right?
I'm going to lose. That I don't know what the sound quality is. That I'm going to have to charge. Like if they bring down the price $100, maybe.
Wait.
60. I'll pay 65 for them.
Stephen Beacham, the ultimate consumer. Hey, Apple, if you just drop $100 off that price, I'll totally.
They're dropping. Them. They're dropping prices on everything apparently. So. I wouldn't put it past them.
That's true. I'll give you that much for sure. Just some updates in software. Mac OS, or I guess people will ask for Mac OS Sierra 10.12.2. The beta is out, actually the public beta. But what makes this special, or what makes this different, is it received an update for Unicode 9 emojis. Do you know what that means? You're gonna get emojis like a. They added like the bacon emoji. They added like a clown face. They added a bunch of them, but you're going to be able to get those emojis in Mac OS Sierra sometime soon. I'm just letting you know.
We're losing some emojis too, right? We're losing like the peach butt and stuff like that.
They're replacing the peach butt. Did we talk about this?
I've seen it all over the news. Like CNET Update did a video.
It's frustrating. I use that a lot in my text messages.
Yeah, why do you got to change stuff, man? Just
like a lot. I don't even have a replacement right now. I mean, the eggplant is quite an iconic emoji that I use frequently as well.
Are they getting rid of that?
No.
Okay.
They can't get rid of the eggplant.
They can't. That's like one of the most highly used millennial
I think, I don't know
emojis.
I can't remember off the top of my head. Is the banana emoji, is it a single banana or is it a bunch of bananas?
I think it's a single, but it's peeled, right?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Thanks for the intel. This is really important stuff. Oh my gosh. And then also the public beta for iOS 10.2 is out, and they give people, if you have it, you can sign up for all the public betas for free directly through Apple's website. I do want to remind you that it's really dumb to run that as your primary. Running a beta as on your primary phone, I can't tell you how many people are like, oh, it just doesn't work as well. I'm like, you know why? It's beta. you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Like you can, and you can get away with most things, but I've had things where some of my apps that I use all the day, like my Sling Player app, that's where I can watch TV anywhere I go on my phone, like because it's connected to my cable box at home. Almost every year when I try to run a beta on it, it doesn't work. So when I'm on the road watching NBA games, like Warrior games, dude, I need that app to work.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
So 10.2 beta is including kind of a sneak peek of the TV app. This is, if you recall, at the last keynote, Apple showcased their TV app, which is a way to really just use apps that networks and channels have already created to make it easier to watch programming.
Is this the TV app that I have on the screen?
Yes, that
is. It
is.
looks just like iTunes, like the music app.
iTunes stylish. This is exactly just kind of a few sneak peeks of the screens. It's not fully functioning at all. It is just kind of like, oh, this is what it looks like. So you can't use it per se, but it's not fully featured at all right now. But it is very iTunes-ish. I mean, or Apple Music-ish looking.
Yeah, totally. It looks exactly the same.
Which is not confusing at all to call it TV. Like when you have an Apple TV. But it plays movies and TV, not TV.
I just have a feeling like you're going to get lost in your apps kind of. You're going to be like, am I in the music app or the TV app? Because that happens to me now with like Twitter versus Facebook versus... Instagram. It's like, which one am I in now? Because they all look the same now.
You're lost in a glass cage of emoji.
Exactly.
You can't trapped in a glass cage of emoji. I bet you it happens for
other people too. Because as you scroll down, it just becomes like a window with a picture and a caption.
How often do you, because you're trying to like do a billion things at once, how often do you accidentally message people the wrong message? Do you do that a lot?
I don't. Yeah, sometimes. I've done that to my dad and like embarrassing shit to my dad. Pardon me.
I've done that a few times.
Sorry, Dad.
Sorry, Daddy-o. Also, just to kind of get you updated with some iPhone 7 news. Oh, sorry. Wait, before we go, how could I forget this? I almost skipped our most important story of the show.
The more emojis?
More emojis. Okay.
I saw these.
So Unicode 9 is the recent, was approved like last year, but those emojis were put into place. Or I think it was like April or May. I can't remember. Just don't accuse me of not remembering all this crap. So the Unicode 10 has proposed 51 new emojis for acceptance, which we would most likely see in 2017, including the bearded hipster, a giraffe, like a sippy cup soft drink, breastfeeding. Like that was one that I did not.
That one's interesting. Yeah,
that could be used for a whole lot of things based on my texting abilities. Yeah. We got a little don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody. We have like
a pie.
I
like the Dracula one. That one is pretty cool.
Culturally relevant. The Hajib, right there, and next to the zebra, awesome, and the pretzel. I mean, it's always pretzel time, baby.
Pretzel time.
Pretzel time. There's
the UFO. The UFO is pretty rad.
There's gonna be like broccoli. If you scroll down on that page, Beach, I don't know if you can. There's like broccoli, coconuts. Like make me a sandwich. There's a bunch. There's a point where there's just too many emojis. Like I think. Look, the art of the emoji is taking other things and kind of making up messages from them.
Yes.
And when it starts getting so specific, it kind of kills, like breastfeeding. Come on.
Yeah, that's funny.
Like, there's an actual emoji for breastfeeding coming. Does that make sense to you?
Sure. What? It's funny. The more the merrier. I don't care about. I mean, it is hard to like scroll through and like find like
that's
one
what
that's
I'm
cool,
saying.
But
and even though it has your most recently used, it's still not enough.
Sometimes I'll be going through emojis and I'm like, what the hell am I doing with my life?
Exactly.
I'm looking for an emoji.
I've said that a lot, just in general.
It's like a waste of time.
Yeah. Also, just to jump over to the iPhone 7 rumors, according to Mako Takara, they claim that Apple may add what they call in quotations a jet white color option for the iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus. Now, I think this would be really cool. When they call it jet white, it's more of the treatment, right? Remember how they showed this intense video of how it was like polished and then re-anodized. I don't know. He's all this. It's just like a 13-step layer process of anodization and polishing.
We make painting your iPhone like, so complicated.
It was so intense. So the rumored jet white color could be coming. Again, it's not for sure, but I actually like the idea of this. Again, I kind of wish they released that crazy midnight blue color that was rumored.
Yeah.
Like, how dope was that?
People were buzzing about it in the chat room.
Everyone was all about that. They were like, come on, bring out the blue.
But before we even started the show today, people got in the chat room before we even live, and they're like, "I can't wait for that jet white phone." Like everyone was talking about it. Like it's weird how just something that simple gets people excited.
Yeah, like you mean like when anytime Apple just says we're gonna make an announcement, people just get really excited, like super excited.
Like a Nintendo Classic Edition not coming up on my Amazon.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'll apologize if it's my fault that because we're doing the show exactly at the time that it launched that you don't get one. Man. I know you're checking right now. I can tell.
Hell yeah,
I'm just checking. Okay, and then finally, last quick story about iPhone. According to reports, iPhone SE unlikely to receive a refresh until early 2017, and that's really because they're waiting for the component parts to lower for the current stuff, or based on the deals that they strike with manufacturers, so that if they do make any upgrades, they'll still be able to make their like ridiculous like 30-35% margins on those phones. But the iPhone SE, a very popular phone.
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, like we hear a lot of news about it, and a lot of people dig it.
Yep, super popular phone. So there you go. I hope that last week, you guys, if you haven't had a chance to listen to, I know that the phone quality wasn't the best, but it was more than good enough that you were able to hear our interview last week with Steve Blank, because I think it shed a lot of light, and just more than anything, it was not to poop on Apple, but just to give you a perspective historically of maybe where they're going. But again, any company can turn things around. So I didn't think it was incriminating. Some people were so mad at me. They're like, why would you do just a one-sided thing? I'm like, I thought it was actually very fair how it was discussed.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
All you do is poop on Apple. I'm like, did I not brag about Apple's solid-state drive speeds last episode? No response. That's what I thought.
Well, we talked about this. They're having a little slump right now,
We called it last year, Nostratongus, Beach and Tong. This is a down year for Apple.
Yes.
You could see it. You could see it.
But I mean, this MacBook Pro news you did at the beginning of the show is very surprising. I mean, like we were all like, oh, MacBook Pro is so expensive and, it's just not enough. But it seems like it's taking off.
Never underestimate the power of rich people.
So yeah, all the guys at Apple right now are like, it worked.
Oh, they don't need the touch bar, but I'll give them the touch bar. All right. And then also just a little teaser, next week, we will have our laptop editor, Dan Ackerman. We will have an interview with him. So if you guys want to listen in and just hear pluses, minuses, and everything about the new MacBook Pros, you'll be able to listen to that.
Yeah, and he's been living with it for
what, about 2 weeks now? Yeah. So we'll find out how good that thing really is and who it's for. Okay, should we get to some more phone calls?
Let's do some voicemails.
Let's do it, baby.
All right, let me make sure my thing is ready. Here we go.
Hey, Brian and Beach, Jason in Tallahassee. Got an iPhone 6, and ever since I downloaded iOS 10, battery life is terrible. My phone will go from 40% watching a movie and drop into nothing and shut off on me in 5 minutes. Any ideas? Thanks. Love your show.
Yeah, so first of all, I will say I don't know how early you updated it, but I do know for a fact when I updated to iOS 10, because of the way it basically re-indexes your phone to help optimize it, I feel like the first week or two, my battery life was getting murdered, like absolutely murdered, and a lot of people experienced the same thing. It has stabilized since then, but then the other issue that it comes down to is a lot of times these new operating systems, Apple will never officially say it, but when you go to a phone that might be 2 years older or 3 years older, it's just not really made for those phones, and it typically can be more resource hungry. So that also could be one of the reasons why you're experiencing that, just purely because of how they choose to or not choose to support older phones. I don't know if you can, maybe you could email us at theapplebyte@cnet.com with a follow-up. I'm just curious. I kind of need more information than that, but my first hunch is if you update it very recently, it's most likely that. But the second hunch is also how they support devices. And again, this has been an ongoing thing for years. And there's year.
I'm also thinking, like, when you do the update, it refreshes all your apps sometimes, and maybe possibly some of your apps that track you got reset to track you again, that maybe you turned it off. Because that happened to me. Like, I did an update and a couple of the apps that I just had turned off where where they're tracking my location, that was back on, and I was like, oh, how did that? I guess the app reset itself or something. So that could be if you have apps tracking you, then that's going to eat all your battery life.
There are a few ways, though. I will tell you again. Maybe it's something that you might want to look online. There are a few ways to. iOS 10 in general uses more battery life. There's like a feature where when you pick up your phone, it's called raise to wake. Your screen automatically turns on.
Yes,
that's gonna use more battery life, quite honestly. And then also, there's things like they added all these new widgets, and guess what? Those widgets have to constantly be fed data to be updated.
Totally. So
you can actually turn that off. There's a few things you can tweak with, but I would just say try turning off raise to wake at least, and then try. There's also like a background app refresh option, and that again requires your phone to work to update that. If you want to maybe only select a few apps for it to support, that's fine. But just try some of those tweaks. I think raise to wake will help though, actually.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And then turning off the animations too, like just little things like that.
Yep. The emotion effects.
So yeah.
Okay. So next call.
Yep. Looks like the Nintendo is currently unavailable again. So
don't cry, dry
totally
your eye,
bummed.
man. Don't cry,
next
dry your
call.
eye.
Hey guys, this is Francis from Los Angeles, California. Love the show. Just had a question about what you guys think about the Apple car project, Project Titan, and its recent news about it being sort of disbanded. I think a good strategy, actually, and I heard about this, is the possibility of, for example, buying Tesla and making Elon Musk the CEO of Apple. I think actually that would be a great strategy because it sounds like Apple doesn't know what to do with their car project and what direction to take it, and they're actually years behind Tesla and other autonomous driving companies. So I just was wondering what you guys think of that strategy, if Apple would be open to that, if Musk would be open to that with Tesla. I think that would actually put them years, ahead again if they did something like that, like they did with Beats and the music streaming service. So, I'd love to hear you guys' opinion on that. And thanks for the.
I think it's a fascinating idea. I also, when you talk about who are kind of those next generation innovative minds, Elon Musk obviously has to be on that short list.
Oh, clearly.
Yes. I don't know if you guys and gals saw what he's doing with roof tiles.
It's amazing.
The solar roof tiles.
He's on his way to being the next Steve Jobs
it's true.
Like figure.
Yeah,
for sure.
With the types of things that he is pushing forward with. So check out those solar tiles. They're crazy. Look, I believe in what Tesla and Elon Musk is doing because I put down it's refundable, but a $1,000 deposit for the Tesla 3.
Kind of jealous that I didn't do that
because it was refundable, right? And at the same time, I don't know when this thing is going to be available. It might be 2 more years, 3 more years, but I'll be in the market for a car then. So why not at least have the option to totally see what they're cooking? I think realistically though, Elon Musk already has his own plans and ideas. You might choose to buy. You could buy a company Apple has more than enough cash to, but if just because you buy his company doesn't mean he wants to be the CEO of the company.
True. So he's got his foot in so many different things. I mean, he's going to space. He's building solar tiles.
Seriously.
There's a lot of things he's doing. So it'd be hard to get him to focus on one thing, I'm sure.
And nothing he's doing, again, that's a great suggestion, but nothing he's doing is what Apple's doing, and that's actually part of the problem. His brain is thinking ahead of what Apple's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not thinking.
He's almost thinking, how can I interrupt Apple a little? You know what I mean? Or what did they call it? When, disrupt.
The Silicon Valley's buzzword, disruption.
Yes, exactly.
So I think he'd be a great mind, but he doesn't really play in consumer electronics, quite honestly.
No.
He's going for the big boys, big stuff.
Big
stuff. Great call, though. Thank you.
Okay, next call.
Hey, guys. Eric from Salt Lake. I'm just still chapped about no iMacs. I need an iMac, and it's frustrating as hell waiting forever and not getting one. What's your thoughts? Thanks.
Yeah.
Do you need a hug, bro?
If the new iMacs do come out, what would be the price point? I don't even know how much the current ones are.
I feel like they're around $12.99, $14.99.
So
off the top
cheaper
of my head.
than the Surface Studio.
Oh, for
A
sure.
little more affordable.
It better be.
Okay.
It would be embarrassing if it was more expensive than the Surface Studio, quite honestly.
Yeah.
It was weird though because like they were really high when the first iMac came out, the new design. I bought it immediately because I loved it and it had more than enough power, and it still does for what I do. It had this cool fusion drive technology, but then they kind of like went away from that. It was basically like a hard drive that was merged with like a side bit of like flash storage to optimize and speed up things. They don't talk about it as much anymore. I might be wrong, but I think the new ones still have it, but they just don't talk about it.
I see.
Or it's a build to order option. But you're not the only one waiting for new iMacs. Plenty of people wanted just new Macs, period, not just new MacBook Pros. My hunch is we'll see something in March or April of next year, just because they just have to do something. And I'm sure they're working on it, so we'll see.
Cool. All right, next call.
Hey, Brian, how you guys doing? My name's Anthony. I'm calling from New York, and I'm a software developer, and I've heard all the complaints about the new MacBook Pros, and I just want to play devil's advocate and say, when I first looked at it having no ports, I got freaked out. But then when I looked deeper and I saw how much those ports can do, it really is amazing. But the fact that you can't plug your new iPhone into your new MacBook is completely retarded. So I think the Hail Mary pass is if Apple announces the iPhone X or iPhone Future, whatever you guys want to call it, and they release it with a USB 3, and then you have one port to rule them all. Do you think that they will have the guts to actually do that? All right, guys, I love the show. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah.
Great call.
It's not called guts. It's called courage.
Courage. Spelled COURAGE.
Yes. Hashtag.
They could do something like that. It depends on how married they are or how much they really love their Lightning. Look, you make a great point because if they really loved Lightning that much, you would have seen a Lightning port on the new MacBook Pros.
True.
Like you really would have. If they felt like we've got to have this. And so we'll find out. But again, at the same time, Apple has never on their iPhones, let me think about this out loud and carefully, they've never used a standardized cable connection. They had that 30-pin connection adapter.
Yeah.
Then they go to Lightning. They've never used like an actual USB micro, or even a FireWire. That was back in the day with the iPods. So historically, they've never used a mainstream connection on their phones.
The only sort of thing you can call mainstream is just the wireless over Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that they've really done.
Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So we'll see what happens.
iTunes.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. I think it's an interesting point. And look, if it's all about being super thin, I think if they use USB-C and it actually can be thinner than whatever they have, from their component parts and Lightning, they'll do it. So iPhone X, iPhone Future, we'll wait and find out. I like how people pick up on that name because it is dope.
It is dope.
It is dope.
I think that's the show, man. We have we have one more piece of business we got to take care of.
Oh, thank you for reminding me of that piece of business. I guess I'll just read it. Is that okay?
Please.
All right. Salesforce helps marketers get smarter about their customers and plan better campaigns that blur the lines between marketing, sales, commerce, and service, all in the name of customer success. That's great marketing made by you with Salesforce. Connect your customers in a whole new way. See a demo at salesforce.com/AppleByte. All right, y'all.
Thank you, Salesforce.
Come back next week. We'll have a full review of the new MacBook Pros with Dan Ackerman. We'll see you guys next week. Call us. What is that? 1-800-616-2638.
Oh, yeah.
All right. See y'all. Peace.